If there's no exponent written, what do we assume it is? 1. It doesn't mean you just get to make the a disappear. It means there is one a there, and you have to make sure and add that together when you combine them. Today, we're going to add in another rule. So if we have a monomial taken to a power. So first, let's think of it as, let's do an example. If I said a squared to the third, we have to ask ourselves what that means. It's telling me I have that a squared 3 total times. And from Friday, we know, what would you do with those exponents then? Add them, and you would get an a to the 6th. So then the question, how could I get the 6 from the original problem? So if you have a power to a power, we multiply that. So it becomes x to the a times b power. So this is sometimes confusing for people. If you have two exponents written side by side, we're going to multiply them. If the base, the x is with both of them, or the a is with both of them, that's when we add our exponents. So if we look at our first example here, you'll notice the 2 and the 8, they are side by side. So what do we do with those exponents? Multiply. So it's x to the 16th power. Okay, number 2. I have both an m and an n inside my parentheses. So what do you think that means? Yes. We take this 4 to both of them. So it becomes m to the 36th power and n to the number 3. That p, if there's no exponent written, what do we put? So then this would become p to the and q to the 15 because we have to multiply. All right. Any questions there? Okay, if you don't have one, you may need a calculator for this second part. So sometimes we have numbers in here, coefficients. When we have those exponents, we have to take the number, or the exponent to that number as well. So if I were to do this one, it would become a 5 to the 2nd power and x to the 14th. And then we can simplify a little bit. What is 5 to the 2nd power? 25, because 5 to the 2nd means 5 times 5. So we get 25 x to the 14th. Okay, I'm going to look at number 7. This one you have to be very careful, especially if you are using your calculator. The negative can cause some problems. When I bring this 4 in, I have to take negative 5 to the 4th power. It would be m to the what? And n to the 4th. Okay. This negative 5 to the 4th. If you type that in your calculator without parentheses, you will get a negative answer. But if you type it in negative 5 in parentheses, and the fourth on the outside, what do you get? Did everybody get a positive 625? Okay. Okay, because it's not times 4. It's 2 of 4 parts. Use this little caret button, and that will do your exponent for you. Does anybody else need help doing those exponents on their calculator? Let's take a second and think about what this means. If I have 2x squared y to the 5th, that's like saying we have 2x squared y written 5 times. Now, I don't expect you to write this, but I want you to understand what it means. So when I multiply this, how many 2's do we end up with? 5. That's not the same thing as 2 times 5. That's 2 to the 5th power, because we have 2 multiplied 5 different times. When I look at my x's, how many x's do we end up with? We have x squared written 5 different times. How many did that give me altogether? 10. Or 2 times 5 is 10. My y, we had 5 total. Okay, so then on your calculator, what is 2 to the 5th power? 32. A lot of people had 10 because they did 2 times 5, which is different than saying 2 to the 5th power. An exponent is like a shorthand of writing how many times we need to multiply it. Okay, so number 6. If you needed to, you could realize this, the square is essentially saying we have this parenthesis written 2 times. So if you want to work through it, you have -8 times -8, which becomes positive 64. You could write that, it's like a -8 squared, which is our 64. C to the 4th, 2 different times. So what do we do with those? 4 times 2 gives us 8. Okay, we had 9 d's 2 different times. So 9 times 2 is 8. Look at number 8. So, this cube on the outside, if you need, you could think of it, it's saying we have this thing 3 times. So we end up with a -3 to the 3rd and x to the 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, what is -3 to the 3rd power? -27. That one stays negative because the exponent is odd. Okay, how did we do on those? Good? All right. Let's look at number 9. We have 1/2 to the 3rd. All right, I want everybody to make sure you know how to put this in. So 1/2, put parentheses around it, to the 3rd power. What's that give us? If you hit math number 1, it will give you that answer as a fraction. So it gives us 1/8. 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Did everybody get that? Okay, so it's my 8. You multiply, so 3 times 3 is 9. B. 1/8, a to the 9th, b to the 12th, c to the 15th. All right. The last section is going to combine everything that we're doing. So before I look at that, are there questions on these problems? Go slow. It's not that the math is necessarily hard, but remembering what to do can take a second. So don't try to just rush through them and make silly mistakes. Make sure with exponents, you are keeping them as exponents, not just multiplying your numbers. So if I look at the next problem, I have to do a combination. If you think about order of operations, it tells us we always begin with parentheses. So I need to start right here. What would I do with that exponent? Multiply it. So it becomes y to the 9 times my xy squared. Okay. So first, we took that cube through. Is everybody okay on that step? Second step, when we go to multiply these, this is where a lot of people made mistakes on Friday. Remember, this x has a 1. The x is written each time, so what do you do with those exponents? You multiply if they're side by side, like a power to a power. What do we do with the bases? We add them. So we have 9 x's here and 1 here, so that's x to the 10. We have 9 y's here and 2 here. Y to the 11. So that one took a little bit longer to get to. Let's look at 12. All right, you'll notice both of these have an exponent on the outside, so we have to start there. That negative, it's just like a -1. What is -1 squared, or -1 times -1? Positive. This will become a to what power? B to the 14. Times, and that's parentheses. We have a 12 to the second, so 12 times 12 is 144. A, power to power, we multiply, so 3 times 2 is 6. This is its B to the second. Now, we are multiplying these things. So we multiply the numbers. 1 times 144 is still 144. What is a squared times a to the 6th? Since the a is written both times, you add those. B to the 14th. B to the 16th. Try number 14. So first I have to cube. What is 2 to the 3rd power? 8. A, 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, here I'm multiplying. So this is like a 1a to the 4th times a 3a squared. So 1 times 3 is 3. A to the 4th times a squared. What do we do with those exponents? Add them because the a is written both times, and that gives me 6. Am I able to combine those? Yes, because they both have an a to the 6, we add the numbers in front. So that gives me 11a to the 6. Right. You guys take a minute and you try those odd problems there. And then we will look at those together, and that's our. So we start, we have a power outside our parentheses, we have to start there. If there is no coefficient, this is just a -1. And I already forced 6. A -1 to the third. So -1 times -1 times -1. What does that give me? -1. You can do it on your calculator if you need to. It's in parentheses, cube on the outside. So it's a -1. What do we do with the exponents on the variables? Multiply. Power to a power, we multiply. You're a step ahead of me, I think. So 7r to the third, so 7 times 3 is 21. There's one s to the third, so that's s to the third. Now, to my needs, if the r's are written each time, we know from last week that you add the exponents. We get -1, r to the 25th, s to the third. You could also just write that with a negative in front. You don't have to have the 1. So either of those answers is okay. So the second one. Everybody needs to pay attention. Try to understand this. So if you have a 6 to the third, you can use your calculator. 6 to the third power is what? 216. Here, power to a power, we multiply. So 2 times 3 is 6. This is a 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Right, 1/3 squared is 1/9. A squared, B squared, C squared. So now we multiply. What is 216 times 1/9? Right, a to the 6th times a to the 2nd. 6 plus 2 is 8. B, 3 plus 2 is 5. And then we still have the C squared. Combination of yesterday and today. Or I guess not yesterday, Friday and today. All right. Last one. So 3 to the 4th is 81. X, 3 times 4 is 12. Y to the 4th. 7 squared is 49. X to the 10th. Y to the 2nd. Okay, we have to multiply these. Because the x's are written each time, we add the exponents. So 10 plus 2 is 12. 2 plus 2 is 4. Are they like terms? Yeah, they both have an x to the 12th and a y to the 4th. So we do 81 minus 49.